Hey guys, I want to talk to you about a little subject that bothers me. I see a lot on forums and YouTube and all your social media platforms. Um, and what that subject is about is when people buy a fish and it becomes too big for their aquariums and they can't house it anymore, they don't know what to do with it. You may have seen this. I see it a lot. Now, we're asking ourselves, what can I do with this fish? Where can I take it? Who can I give it to? Well, if I can't find anybody who wants a large fish because maybe they can't take it, the next thing that comes to your mind is, I'll just take it to the local lake, pond, river, and dump it in there. And he'll be happy, right? Wrong. You should never do this. This is a mistake, and it's really irritating to me because you should have never been in this situation in the first place. It's very much avoidable, and it's absolutely ridiculous, to be blunt. So let's get into this subject a little bit. Let me talk about ways that you can avoid this, and let's understand that it's not the pet store's fault. They're a little bit to blame because we need better education in the pet stores as well. But really it comes down to you. We need to own up to this because there's no reason you should have bought that fish if you were doing your research. So let's get right into it. You go to the pet store, you see the pleco, you think he's cool. And I'm using a pleco for this because I have personal experience with it, and it is one of the biggest contributors to this issue that we have. There's a lot of fish out there that people have this problem with, Oscars being one, arowanas being another one, but we're going to stick to the pleco. These fish get big. You go to the pet store, you see the pleco, he looks cool, he's on the side of the glass, they tell you he cleans algae, you get him, the pet store says you're going to be good, you get him home, in a year or two, he's over a foot. The size can vary, we're not going to get split hairs with that. The point is, these fish get big. They get very big. And they need a lot of room to swim around. 9 times out of 10, you do not have an aquarium to house him. An Oscar, if you don't have at least a 75-gallon tank for one, and which in my opinion is too small for them, you need at least a 125-gallon tank for an Oscar. If you don't have one of them tanks, do not get this fish. Oscars grow super fast. Plecos, like the ones I showed you, they grow slower. They are slow growers, but it doesn't take that much time for them to get over a foot. Okay? You can't house this fish, don't buy it. The biggest problem with this is you. Why are we not doing our research? Everybody's on their phones all day long, all the time. We can't take 5 minutes if you're going to have an aquarium and look up how big does this fish get? What size tank does this fish need? What does he eat? It's 5 minutes or less. How big does a common pleco get? And if it tells you over a foot and you've got a 75-gallon tank, you've got a 55-gallon tank, do not buy the fish. You cannot trust the people in the pet stores to tell you this. They just want to sell stuff. 9 times out of 10, they just want to sell, sell, sell. You do get the good ones every once in a while that ask you what size aquarium you have. And if you tell them a 55, they're going to say, sorry, I can't sell this fish to you. He gets too big. Then they get mad at them when they're just doing their job like they should. Again, your fault, not the pet store. We got to start looking at ourselves in these situations. We need to start doing research. We need to pay attention, realize what we're buying. You are not doing this fish any justice when you buy these big fish and you can't house it. I was on Garcia Aquatics Live today for a short period of time, and a guy came on that does maintenance, a friend of his, saying there was a tank left behind in an apartment building with a 6-inch pleco in it. It was a common pleco, and he was in a little tiny 10 or 20-gallon tank or something like that. Well, in no time at all, he would have been busting the seams of that tank, and they just up and left. We have to stop this ridiculous mentality. If you choose to buy a fish, you chose to commit to give that life form the best life you possibly can. It's no different than dogs, cats, birds, whatever you're into. When you buy something, you need to commit to it. Unless there's a drastic thing that you cannot do to take this fish with you or give it the proper care and housing it needs, outside of your control, that's different. Then we'll work with it. But even then, there's other things you can do. I myself have already contacted one of my local pet stores. She has an indoor concrete pond specifically designed for big plecos, and I told her, hey, if something ever happens and I got to get rid of this guy, can I bring him to you? And she said, yes, I have already a backup plan lined up. A lot of people don't even go to the depths of doing that. There's way too many fish tubers out there in the fish fam. There's way too many YouTube channels. It's so easy to get on social media and look something up that there's absolutely no excuse that you're not doing your research, finding out how big fish get, what the proper care they need, figure it out, and then decide in your mind, should I get this fish? No, he gets up to 12 to 18 inches. I don't have an aquarium big enough. Let's find something else. There's a lot of other cool fish out there that will work for you. Okay, we've got to stop doing this. There's too many people out there that do this and then throw the fish in ponds and lakes and local ecosystems, and it starts destroying it. Plecos will destroy and drain ponds because that's how they breed. They go above the surface, they dig a tunnel, and that's where they breed, and they go about 39, 40 inches deep, sometimes draining ponds. This is why then your national parks and your local authorities have to step in and start banning fish. Florida's going through it right now. Okay, everyone, I don't know the ins and outs of that. I'm sure there's some crap parts of that too, and it's all about politics and money. But in this case, I get it. I don't blame them. All because people don't want to take 5 minutes to sit down and figure out what they're getting before they go. Don't take other people's words for it. The person working at Petco or the person working at PetSmart may not exactly know what they're talking about. I've experienced that more than once. Do your research before you go into these stores. Stop buying fish that are too big that you can't take care of. The number one way to figure that out is to do your research. I can't say it enough. Do your research before you go buy a fish. I don't care what it is. You need to know all the ins and outs of whatever fish you're buying. If you don't know, you need to figure out what they need to properly take care of them. Okay, sorry about the rant, but it's very irritating when people get these fish and then they're struggling to get rid of them, or they kill them, or they throw them somewhere. This is a life form. How would you like it if someone broke into your house, stole your dog? Well, that's different. How would you like it if someone took your dog away from you and said, oh, I can't house this dog anymore. Let's kill it, or let's throw it in the woods like I see a lot. It's the same thing with these animals. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that's it. Just wanted to talk a little bit about this stuff. Let's start taking some ownership in this and look at ourselves and stop blaming others and realize that we messed up and fix it going forward. There's no reason for this. Let's try to quit it. Okay? What do you say? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Whether you agree or disagree, I know what's right. And that's never going to change. So get it together. Do better. Talk to you later.